Cheers. Rest of the commission.
I just got a couple. Judy Jones, Casper, 335 North 8 Mile. I was looking over your plans.
Could you put the microphone?
Okay, anyway, I just kind of want to know what happened to Tom Richardson. I noticed he's not on planners anymore.
Yeah, he's not a planner. He's been replaced.
Okay, for...
He was on there for 2 3-year terms and it was up.
Okay, and then does that move Gino up to chairman?
They elect.
They'll do their own election.
They'll probably elect who they want.
Okay.
Got
And
two
I wanted to
people
thank
on
you too for listening and taking my advice about Cliff. I don't think you'll have too much trouble with Dempsey Acres now. But pretty much that's it. I just kind of wondered what happened with Tom, so thank you.
Oh, ma'am, may I ask you a question?
Sir?
I understand you have some property out west of town.
You can talk to my lawyer about any of that. I'm just here to ask.
I'm just asking you a question. You have some property out
I
there?
don't. My husband does.
Oh, your husband, is he clearing off the property, put some more vehicles out there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, just ask. We saw some
You
clearing
have
off
to
the
talk to
property.
Harry about any of that stuff, guys. You know that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything for the good of the order?
We had a great CNS
theme today. People are getting fed up with people like you imposing more rules and more regulations that interfere in the operations of our private lives or our public lives, either one. Now, you've committed 3 strikes here. The first strike is, of course, property rights. We've been over that over and over again. The 3 most important words, in my opinion, in this whole nation and in the English language is respect property rights. I live by that code. That not only means thou shalt not steal, it means you respect, even though you don't like what your neighbor's doing, you have to respect his right to do it in order to maintain your own property rights. That's how important property rights is to this country. Our very freedom is hinged on how well we respect property rights, including government. It's a majority concern nowadays that property rights are being trampled over. And that includes individual rights, of course. But I included all in property because corporations think of it as property. So the common question there is, who owns me? I do. It's my responsibility to provide for my own health, to guard my own health. None of you, I don't empower any of you to watch over my health. I'm doing just fine. I'm 64 years old.
America. Okay? Khrushchev said back in '64, the communism would take over this country without a shot being fired. And it's happening today.
Mr. Siri, could you lower your voice?
Well, excuse me, ma'am. All right? I'll get my home.
Mr. Chairman?
Sir.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to that too, because I don't understand, I'm having a lot of trouble differentiating the property rights of somebody that owns the property and somebody that's a neighbor to the property. And we talk about, and Mrs. Jones talked about she'd get the neighbor's approval, and you know, they would be devaluing their property. I don't know that that's true or not, but I do remember we tried to stand by Mrs. Jones with this, a use that she's got out on 8 Mile, and she was unable to get her neighbor's approval, and their argument was that they were devaluing, you know, you were devaluing their property, you know. So I'm really struggling. I'm trying to see really the point of that argument. But
on the back corner of Mr. Boise's property, I've lived out there since I was 11 years old. My folks have a place on Grove Road. And like Mr. Boise mentioned, the water that was suggested by Ruby Scogan, we got put in there, and then things started happening for sure. First, it was the subdivision on to the north of us, with the big shop over there. If any of you have been out there, there's 3 big shops out there now. Well, it was quiet until those shops got put in place. It was a nice place to raise a family, and through the years, they've changed the zoning out there three times that I'm aware of. From light agriculture, when my folks moved out there, that's what it was, light agriculture, and residential. And they've changed it now. You get up at 10 o'clock at night and they're rattling pipe or doing something over there in a residential area. Why do you think it's so important for the realtors or land fellas to make that light commercial when there's been residential there most of the time.
Happens, I've never seen that happen. Once something turns into light industrial, it stays light industrial. I think you guys need to consider there's a lot of trailer parks out that way, private homes, and a lot of people started up. And I understand that the land use plan, Gene brought it up himself, he said that in 1998, when the land use plan was messed with, that basically what they want to do is they want to run out the residential out there and turn it all in light industrial. And I think you need to okay that with the people living there first.
Resolve that problem, just for right now. So, but what I was going to say is, one of the questions we have today, or I have, is we need to come up with a time frame, considering this whole thing passes, that you have to apply for a conditional use permit, because I don't want to wait until, somebody, we go through the regular process of attacking somebody's property because he's got too many, antique cars or whatever, and then all of a sudden he wants to delay the whole process by stopping it and saying, well, now I want to apply for a conditional use permit.
So with that in mind, that there'd be a 200-room hotel and this 48,000 square foot conference center located there, and sufficient parking to handle the demand for both.
Many of you have ever been to Billings. The Crown Plaza in Billings is a similar size facility with a hotel attached to it. It's right downtown Billings. So that's I think kind of the model that is being looked at. Yes.
Okay, now what about the hotels and motels that are already around town? They're running at probably about half capacity right now. How is this going to affect their businesses, this upscale hotel? Has anybody did a study on that or talked to them to see if they're interested in it? Or?
Sure they have.
Yeah, the consultant took a look at all the hotels that currently are available, and the big three, the Ramcota, the Ramada, and Pat Sweeney's Parkway Plaza, are all running, what, 85% now, Pat?
It's not a joke to me. We're at 59%.
59?
Citywide, 61%.
Okay.
So.
Because now the CBD...
Well below a break-even point. But
okay.
There's been no documentation of what the property is worth today. I've not seen it, and I've been on the committee. There's been no proof. I want to see proof.
That's right.
As far as...
But, it's noted here there have been 900 cases. I mean, the notion that the county has not been pursuing these zoning violations in the county are totally incorrect. It's a total.
We were operating with a rule that one car constituted a violation, and of course there was a considerable objection to that rule. The county was perhaps lax in enforcing those regulations for some period of time.
Anything regarding that? Reports, and I think was one.
Correct. They're going back to, is it considered the collector items, because we're just pulling vehicles out of collector items. So does it fit into collector items, which are some of the allowed things, or is it just a junkyard, which is not allowed?
And the next question I have is, what about this thing that's in the state statutes that says anything that's considered 25 years or older, we're not even addressing that? Well, no, but I can ask it, and that's what I'm asking. Are you?
We're not talking about just antique cars. We're not addressing just antique cars. 2352 South.